Gilmore. We pull up, we're fighting fires at the time. That's what my second book's about, called Into the Darkness, fighting fires without masks.
Right.
And you get into a place, you stay close to the floor, you look for a window, you bust it out, cut your finger off, they sew it back on. And, you know, anyways,
which happened to you?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So anyways, we get into this room, and Captain Kenny went one way, and I went the other way. And I went into a room, and there wasn't any smoke in it. And I thought, oh, geez, this is a break. The window was wide open, and there was a little lady that it was snowing, and the moonlit night and everything. Little lady, and she was laying on the floor near the window, and you could see in the fresh snow she'd walked down in her bra and panties, and she was shy. And she came back up to put on a housecoat, and she died inside the window. And it just broke my heart, you know, just broke my heart. And then, of course, after that, my heroes in my life, like this guy, Al Owens, that's his helmet right here.
Tell us about the helmet.
This helmet is this is the kind of equipment we had in the 60s.
And you joined the department in 1960, 20 years old.
To see the insulation called metal?
Yep.
Anyways, Al Owens' wife gave me this helmet. Al Owens was one of my heroes. And Al Owens, at 17 years of age, was a tail gunner. And that's the kind of balls he had. And Al Owens I just admired the man so much. He wasn't just struck on me, but he respected me, which of course is more important. It's more important to be respected than liked or loved. This is what I had for equipment, and we've got a lot better stuff.
You guys
today.
had nothing.
You had nothing.
You did not have respirators.
No,
you did not have oxygen.
Well, I'll tell you
did not have fire retardant clothing.
Here's something you're going to get a kick out of. When I first came on the job in 1960, we didn't have masks.
Yeah.
And we would take an awful beating. They started off. This is. You can check this out because it's going to sound like the biggest lie anybody ever told. The first mask I played with was the masks they used during the First and Second World War. They were like a canister type thing.
The gas masks.
And you put them on. You looked like a Spider-Man with the big eyes. And you know what the filtration agent was in those? Asbestos. So help me God, it's a great filter. But
well, it's true.
Asbestos. And then the city got us the masks, and we were told by the mayor's office at the time, try not to use the masks because they cost $10 to fill.
Right.
So then somebody got the brainwave. They said, well, why do we send the masks out to get filled? We'll fill them ourselves. So they filled them themselves on an apparatus floor where old V12 diesels are firing up every time. So you'd get the generators, you'd be sucking diesel fumes inside your mask. So every once in a while you get a taste of some garbage in your mask. What the hell is that? You know? But that's what it was. We never were. The police department brought in a lot of money. Yeah. God bless them. And three of my brothers were police officers. And my friend Carl Booth, and so many other Billy Blake, other police officers. I think the world of. They're my friends. Yeah. But police officers brought in money. We don't. You know that we haven't had a contract in the city of Ottawa for 5 years?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you know, and I'm not complaining. I'm gone now, but still, you know,
many are complaining.
And you know, I love my brother and sister firefighters. I have fun with my sister firefighters because, of course, they think I'm a nut bar, which I am. I was coming down Preston Street, number 2 fire station, and there's this 10 standing in the doorway, female. So I pull up on the ramp, and she says, "You can't park there." I said, "I could park any damn place I want to." She said, "You can't park there." I said, "Yes, I can." And I said, "I'm so upset." And she said, "Why?" I said, "For 39 years, I worked with a bunch of muscle-bound guys that burped. And I said, to hire something like you and I don't get a chance to work with you, I'm going to human rights. I'm coming back to work. I'm so upset and everything else." She said, "You got to be Captain Allen." I said, "Yeah." I said, "What's it like being a firefighter?" And she said, "It's great." She said, "I got 600 brothers. Who's going to bother me?"
Yeah.
So 2 guys walked out of the station. I said, "What's it like having a lady in the station?" She said, "Hey, she's great. She table dances for us at lunchtime." So I looked at her. I said, "You know, you've got it all." She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "To be a firefighter, you have to have guts, strength, and brains. If you got brains and guts and no strength, you're no good. If you got guts and strength and no brains, you're no good to anybody. But you have the 4th thing that's so important."
But you have written that.
You have a sense of humor, because you, compared to your girlfriends and your friends over the next 5 or 6 years, are going to get the blackest sense of humor. And that's what happens to firefighters. You deal with death so much that you get this black sense of humor.
Now, this is something that runs throughout the book,
Yeah.
and it might be in a way confusing to some people.
It is.
That as a 20-year-old, your
Yeah.
first year you see 17 deaths.
17
You
deaths.
describe, you don't pull any punches in the way people die, whether firefighters or fire victims or suicides.
Yeah.
It is grisly. It is nightmarish. It is horrible.
Yeah.
You're seeing all this as a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
What does that do to your mind?
I don't know. All I know is that I not only liked my job, I loved my job.
This is the contradiction.
I went to work with heroes every day. Al Fraser was on the North Atlantic. At Lou Merton, my captain Lou Merton, he was on the North Atlantic when he was 17 years old.
In the war?
In the war, during the war, to get killed anytime. He lied about his age. Lyle McLennan, the last real chief of the Ottawa Fire Department, he was gone in 1990. Since then, politics has stepped in and they've hired chiefs from other cities, which is wrong. Yeah. And that's what's wrong with the RCMP, that's what's wrong with the Ontario Provincial Police, and that's what's wrong with the Toronto Police Department. Well, you hire from within.
Let's leave those guys aside for the moment. My question is that when you are dealing, and especially at this age, but at any age, when you're dealing with what you've seen, and the despair among a lot of your comrades who've seen the same thing, and yet it seems every other page you're saying, I love my job. I love my job. I love my job.
It is strange. It is strange. Like Leo Bowes, Warner Bradley, Paul Gravel, and myself would be sitting in, say, the Grad's Hotel back in the 60s.
Yeah.
And we'd say, let's go to work. Now, this is when you're fighting fires without masks. Yeah. And you're getting lots of fires. And we'd go and put our stuff on the side of the fire truck, and we'd run all night with the guys. You know, it was just wonderful to be in the presence of these heroes. You know, and you'd learn from them. As one of my heroes, Al Owens, said to me, when we go in, you stick to me like excrement to a blanket. Do you understand? Yes, sir. And that's what I'd do, but I'd learn. And if he could do it, I figured I can do it. And I did it. I got good. You know, I got good. But see, I've never been an academic. Yeah. I would have loved to have a white shirt. I would have loved, they made me an acting district chief right as soon as I got made captain in 1993. Yeah. Because, like a lot of guys come on, 10, 15 years after me, they could write perfect exams. I didn't know until I went to the psychologist. I'm ADD, ADHD, and I'm also dyslexic. When I started taking a typing course, I'd be putting the ING first.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jimmy, you wouldn't be able to tell it by reading this book, but we're going to talk more about that when we come back from the break. We are talking with Jimmy Allen about his book, Extreme Heat, A Firefighter's Life, and we will see you in about 2 minutes. Welcome back. We are talking with retired firefighter Captain Jimmy Allen here on Talk Ottawa tonight. And Jimmy, before we go into the break, we were talking about some of the harrowing stories in this book, Extreme Heat. Difficult to read, but you can't stop because it's real. There are no punches pulled. There's no euphemisms. 50 suicides among, in your career, 50 suicides that you knew.
My brother firefighters, yes. And you know, I've been taken to task about mentioning 4 things by my different brother firefighters. 1, depression. 2, alcoholism, which I am an alcoholic. Because I didn't know until I went to a treatment center to get some help with my alcoholism that alcohol itself, the drug, is a depressant. Right. And if you're already depressed and you start drinking, you think it's picking you up, but it's driving you down into a hole. Right? Another one is crying. My father was the roughest, toughest man in the world. I think he's the only man in the world I've ever been afraid of. George Chevallo, Patty Mitchell, and myself have something in common. We're all mama's boys. 3 toughest George Chevallo was a friend of mine. I just think the world of George and all the hell he went through. Yeah, but I'm a mama's boy. But anyways, I